Imagine discovering that every decision you've ever made, from the products you buy to the people you trust, might not be entirely your own. Sound unsettling? Well, buckle up, because today I'm going to take you on a fascinating journey through the psychology of persuasion, specifically focusing on an eye-opening book called Persuasion. You know that slight unease you feel when learning about psychology and influence? That feeling is about to get a lot stronger. With every psychology book I read, I become increasingly aware of just how easily our minds can be guided and shaped, often without us having the slightest clue it's happening. What I'm about to share with you is both fascinating and slightly terrifying. These aren't your typical influence tactics. They're subtle psychological triggers that work beneath your conscious awareness. Think of them as invisible puppet strings, gently tugging at your decisions before you even realize you're making them. The scariest part? Most of these tactics are so well hidden that your conscious mind can't catch them. They operate like a stealth mission in your brain, quietly influencing your choices while letting you believe you're in complete control. It's similar to taking a magic pill, except you don't even know you've swallowed it. Let me prove this to you with some remarkable experiments that might change how you view your own decision-making forever. In one particularly interesting study, researchers sent an attractive man, think model-level handsome, to approach random women in a shopping mall and ask for their phone numbers for a date. Now, giving your phone number to a complete stranger is a risky thing to do. And of course, the guy got a lot of no's, but he got quite some yeses whenever he approached a woman in front of a particular store. Can you guess what type of store it was? No, it wasn't a perfume store or a chocolate store. It was a flower store. If you look at it, flowers are related to romance, and it subconsciously impacted their behavior and caused them to give out their number. After the experiment, they asked the participants who gave their numbers if the store had anything to do with their decision. All responded, "Of course not. I made a conscious decision to give my number." In a similar experiment again, a guy approached women on the street asking for a date. This time, researchers tested how results would change based on what he carried. One object dramatically increased his success rate: a guitar case. This simple prop completely changed how people perceived and responded to him. Let's look at another fascinating example from the business world. In an online furniture store experiment, researchers split customers between two landing pages, one with soft clouds as the background, another with coins. The results were remarkable. People seeing clouds focused on comfort and softness, while those seeing coins became cost-conscious, hunting for the cheapest options. Yet when asked, everyone denied these images influenced their choices. Words can be equally powerful. Consider the struggling salesperson trying to sell a $75,000 product. Every time he mentioned the price, potential clients would try to negotiate or simply walk away. Then he made one small change. Before revealing the price, he'd casually mention, "Obviously, I can't charge you $1 million for this product." Suddenly, $75,000 didn't seem so steep anymore. That single reference to a much larger number completely shifted people's perception of value. Marketers testing a new energy drink found similar success with careful word choice. Initially, many people refused to try the drink, but when they first asked people if they considered themselves adventurous, many said yes. These same people then agreed to try the drink, their self-image as adventurous people now guiding their behavior. Let me share a personal experience that opened my eyes to these techniques. During a rather boring meeting with a banker discussing investment products, I was mentally planning my exit when he said something that made me snap to attention. "The next product I'm going to talk about is one I would recommend even to my mother to invest in." Instantly, my trust in both him and the product soared. He had unknowingly activated what Robert Cialdini calls the unity principle, creating a shared identity through family connections. The unity principle becomes even more powerful when we look at how master communicators use it. Take Warren Buffett, for instance. When addressing investors' concerns about Berkshire Hathaway's future after his departure, he wrote, "I will tell you what I would say to my family today if they asked about Berkshire's future." With that simple phrase, he transformed shareholders from distant investors into virtual family members. Speaking of family influence, Robert Cialdini demonstrated this brilliantly in his college classes. When seeking parent participation in surveys, response rates typically languished below 20%. But one tiny change, offering students a single extra point on one test if their parents responded, rocketed participation to 97%. That's right. One insignificant point created a five-fold increase in responses simply by activating family bonds. The implications of these studies are mind-blowing. By directing someone's attention to specific concepts, helpfulness, fairness, or romance, you can temporarily shift their entire identity. Think about that. You can actually change who someone is in that moment, how they perceive themselves, and how they perceive your message. But here's what's truly astonishing. In Belgium, researchers conducted an experiment that would demonstrate just how deeply these influences run. They showed 18-month-old children, babies who could barely talk, pictures of household objects with different backgrounds. One person alone, two people standing separately, or two people standing shoulder to shoulder. When researchers accidentally dropped items, children who saw the image of people standing together were 3 times more likely to help pick them up. This wasn't about conscious decision-making or complex reasoning. These were toddlers responding purely on instinct, showing how fundamentally these influences are wired into our brains. Similarly, simply placing a picture of a thinking man in the corner of a screen makes people more analytical and careful in their work. A picture of someone winning a race can boost productivity. Let me share an analogy that ties all of this together. Think of persuasion like planting a seed. You need 2 things: a quality seed, your message, and well-prepared soil, the mental state of your audience. Everything we've discussed is about preparing that soil. Just as the richest soil can't help a poor seed grow, the best message won't take root in unprepared minds. Now, let me give you 6 practical ways to apply these insights. 1. When offering something free to clients, consider giving it to their family members instead. The power of family bonds makes this surprisingly effective. This strategy taps into the deep psychological principle of family unity, which is perhaps the strongest form of human connection. By targeting family members, you're leveraging a primal instinct that goes beyond typical business transactions. Imagine a software company offering a free premium account to a client's spouse or child. This gesture creates an emotional resonance that extends far beyond the immediate business relationship. Moreover, family-driven strategies create a ripple effect of goodwill. When you demonstrate that you care about a client's entire family ecosystem, you're not just selling a product or service. You're building a relationship of trust and genuine care. This approach transforms transactional interactions into meaningful connections that can lead to long-term loyalty and organic referrals. 2. Ask for advice rather than feedback. The word advice creates unity and engagement, while feedback can create distance. The linguistic nuance between advice and feedback is subtle yet profoundly powerful. When you ask for advice, you're inviting collaboration and suggesting that the person's perspective is valuable and integral to the solution. This approach positions the other person as a partner, an expert whose insights are crucial to improving the product or process. Psychologically, asking for advice shifts the dynamic from a potentially critical evaluation to a cooperative problem-solving endeavor. It signals vulnerability and openness, which naturally encourages people to be more constructive and supportive. By framing your request as seeking advice, you're not just gathering information. You're building a collaborative relationship where the other person feels genuinely invested in your success. 3. Time your requests for raises when you've recently received positive customer feedback. The spotlight on your good work creates the perfect moment. Timing is everything when it comes to negotiating professional advancement. By aligning your raise request with recent positive customer feedback, you're providing tangible, external validation of your professional worth. This strategy transforms your request from a personal plea to an objective demonstration of your value to the organization. Furthermore, positive customer feedback creates a psychological momentum that works in your favor. When management has fresh evidence of your ability to create customer satisfaction, they're more likely to view your request as a strategic investment rather than an additional cost. This approach reframes the conversation from "Why do you deserve a raise?" to "How can we continue to leverage your proven success?" 4. When seeking donations, Emphasize shared identities with potential donors. The power of shared identity cannot be overstated in motivating human behavior. When you highlight commonalities, whether geographic, professional, educational, or experiential, you activate a deep-seated psychological trigger that makes people more likely to respond positively. By establishing a sense of we rather than you and me, you create an emotional connection that transcends the transactional nature of donation. This strategy goes beyond mere persuasion. It's about creating a sense of collective purpose. When potential donors see themselves as part of a unified group working towards a common goal, their motivation shifts from individual charity to communal responsibility. By articulating how the donation serves a shared vision or identity, you transform the act of giving from an optional gesture to a meaningful participation in a collective mission. 5. Decorate your environment to support your goals. Those cheesy motivational office posters? They actually work at a subconscious level. Our environment is not just a passive backdrop, but an active influencer of our psychological state. Those motivational posters and strategic visual cues you might have dismissed as cliché are actually powerful psychological tools that subtly shape our mindset and behavior. By carefully curating your visual environment, you're essentially programming your subconscious mind to align with your goals. This environmental priming extends beyond just wall decorations. It can include strategically chosen background images on your devices, carefully selected music, or even the color schemes you surround yourself with. Each element serves as a subtle reminder and psychological nudge towards your desired mental state and objectives. The key is intentionality. Every visual and auditory input can be a deliberate strategy for maintaining focus, motivation, and alignment with your goals. 6. Most importantly, bring people to the right mindset before delivering your message. Mindset preparation is the foundation of effective communication and persuasion. Before presenting any proposal or request, you must first create a psychological environment that is receptive to your message. This involves strategically guiding the conversation or context to align with the emotional and cognitive state that will make your message most compelling. Think of this as setting the stage before the main performance. By introducing specific topics, sharing strategic anecdotes, or creating scenarios that activate desired mental states like cooperation, fairness, or shared purpose, you're essentially calibrating the other person's mental and emotional receptivity. This approach transforms communication from a direct pitch to a nuanced, psychologically informed interaction where the groundwork for agreement is laid long before the actual proposal is introduced. Let me illustrate that last point with a personal story. I once needed a colleague to change his approach to our project. After 2 failed attempts, I tried something new. Before making my request, I reminded him of a time when I had accepted his suggestion despite initially disagreeing, because it was best for the project. This shifted his mindset from arguing to considering what was best for our work, and he agreed to the change. However, with great power comes great responsibility. These techniques must be used ethically. If you use them manipulatively in business, your employees will likely turn the same tactics against you. Remember, you're not immune to these influences either. When someone mentions a small favor before asking for a bigger one, they're activating your natural desire to reciprocate. My goal in sharing these insights is twofold: to increase awareness about these psychological vulnerabilities we all share, and to show how to apply these principles ethically in life and business. These tools can be powerful forces for positive change when used responsibly. Think of it this way. Understanding these principles is like learning about gravity. You can use that knowledge to knock things down, or you can use it to build amazing structures that reach toward the sky. The choice is yours. Remember, awareness is your best defense against manipulation and your best guide for ethical influence. Use these tools wisely, always considering the impact on others and maintaining the highest ethical standards in your personal and professional life. The next time someone tries to influence your decision, or when you need to persuade others, remember, the most powerful part of persuasion often happens before the actual message is delivered. It's in the preparation of the soil, not just the quality of the seed. That's what makes these techniques both powerful and concerning. They work beneath our conscious awareness, shaping our decisions before we even know we're making them. Use this knowledge wisely and always aim to create positive outcomes for everyone involved.